So you found this video and watched a bit of it?
Yeah, I getting to know Theo. I know Tony Robbins, but what I noticed was just how instinctually, how naturally, and how directly Tony Robbins just jumps right in. This conversation is really powerful, and if you can take any of it to heart, it's going to do you well. It certainly helped me a ton. I'm looking forward to seeing what you think.
Awesome.
Sometimes I have a tough time feeling proud of myself. Do you know what that, and I think I've had other people call in our show that have talked about that,
What do you think it is?
I don't know. I feel like, I almost feel like there's a disconnect, like it doesn't even land on me. Or I feel like maybe if I feel like I'm proud of myself, like if I actually feel proud of myself, it'll go against some script that I've always had written or some thing that was always written inside of me. It's like it's almost like it wouldn't, if I wrote on the wall of myself, I'm proud of you, it wouldn't even fucking show up on the wall.
What emotion would you feel if you saw that?
Like what emotion would I feel if I saw what?
I'm proud of myself. Would you go bullshit? Would you be pissed off by it? Would you be annoyed? Would you just
No, I think I'd feel ashamed of myself for even thinking it.
That's interesting. And it produced an emotion in you just now, even when you just thought about it. I saw that flash in your eyes. It was just a little bit of water, a little bit of fluid.
Oh, yeah, dude. Fuck, we cry on here every week. Sorry, dude.
That's beautiful.
Sorry. No, it's okay. But yeah, we don't have any shame about that.
No, you shouldn't. But I'm saying liquid leaving your body in a public place as long as it's through your eyes is not a problem.
That's what I'm talking about, huh? Yeah, don't ask, don't ask.
That's right. But my point is, there's a real anchor for you there. So let me explain it to you. Everybody has what I call an emotional home.
Yeah.
Do you ever watch like a place here and let's say, where the cyclone happens every 2 or 3 years and it wipes out everything or a tornado comes through?
Oh, yeah.
And you see these poor people, all their stuff's all over the ground and they're picking it up and you could have a heart of stone not to feel. They rebuild. 2 years again, it happens again. 2 years later, it happens again. Some part of you eventually goes, why don't you move? It's like, why don't you move?
A lot of Vietnam's like that. It floods. New Orleans is like that. It floods.
New Orleans like that. So here's why don't they move? Because it's home. It's what they know. We have an emotional home. We have certain emotions that got built up in your youth. I had 4 fathers. I had a mother that was pretty intense. And I had a lot of emotions that came out of that experience. If I didn't reprogram myself, I wouldn't be sitting here with you today because my emotional home was not good feelings. It's what I was used to. So even though it didn't feel good, you go there because it's what you know.
Yeah.
It's comfortable. So
yeah, it almost felt like I was deserting myself if I felt good about myself, which is crazy. I'd almost feel like I was leaving. I don't know. Yeah, it's almost like I know those feelings.
No, finish that thought. I'm leaving what?
Well, it's almost like I feel like I know those feelings of not feeling good about myself so well that I don't want to leave them alone because we always had each other. And it was like, if I leave them,
have you ever had a friend?
If I leave them, I won't, I don't know. Does that make sense though?
Yeah, it does. You won't what?
If I leave them, I'll just be letting them down. And they're not even real, but it's a part of me, some part of me inside of me I can't even access. They're like his brothers.
That's right. They're your home, brother. Yeah. And by the way, I really appreciate you being so vulnerable because the people watching there, seeing that, allow them to be vulnerable because you're a role model of that. It's because you're funny as shit, but to be able to be that vulnerable is beautiful. But let me just tell you something. Those are not your friends.
Yeah.
And you're not going to abandon those parts of yourself. You're going to find these other parts of yourself that need to be in charge. It's not to say that you can't have negative emotions or fears or feelings, but the ones that don't support you, you got to break that pattern. And the way you break the pattern first is you start to see, you get a new experience. If I get you an experience where you feel like you actually felt proud of yourself without those feelings, and there was no sense of loss, and I did that with you for days and days, you'll never go back.
Wow.
Because your brain will go, what the F? I'm not going back to that bullshit. Those weren't my friends. It'd be like, it's like having a friend that beats the shit out of you every single day. And it's like, I'm letting him down if I don't want to beat the shit out of me, right? It's like.
I know in my life, very specifically, you are a big part of that entire example because I did a lot of work, personal work, before we met. You were certainly doing a lion's share of your own. That's one of the reasons why we work so well. We have what is it Teal Swan called it? We have compatible trauma.
Yes, compatible trauma.
So I did so much work that I was able to reach a level to where this amazing woman didn't feel incongruent around me, and I didn't feel awkward or insufficient around her. And I have been happy for 4 years now. I haven't lost a night of sleep. And I can tell you damn well that what he just said is true. When you accomplish something better than what you had and your whole system feels safe, and it's like, yeah, you're never want to go back to that place. And it's like, you just can't. It's almost physically impossible. It's almost genetically impossible. So what Tony just said was completely spot on. That was my experience.
Yeah, and I do love this when people are they're really well known and they're doing a normal podcast and they get into these topics. They already have an audience. So they're bringing these conversations and these vulnerable spaces like to people that are looking for something, and then they're going to get this extra thing, which is even better. And it's almost like it's happening even in this conversation. Like you can have surface light fun conversations every day, but then you can have this really vulnerable one night and be like, wow, I want to talk about that more now. Like that, why would I talk about stuff that's not kind of surface when I can really get real?
When Tony brought up the emotional home, I had never heard that theory before, or concept, that modality, and I'm like, wow, that really resonated. That really stuck with me. That's something that I'm going to be able to use every day.
Well, yeah, and I've heard it said different ways, but we're comfortable with a certain way of being, certain emotions, certain feelings, what we expect to have in our world, and when it shows up, and what we want there, what we're used to. And yeah, if you've grown up in an abusive situation and that's your normal, and that's kind of what he's talking about. It's like having best friends who beat you up and you don't know how to ask them to stop because that's just what you do.
Yeah. Keep going.
Let's keep going.
Oh no, I got to be there for him because I got to be there so he can beat the shit out of me all the place. Right?
Yeah.
That's pretty much what
it's
happening.
Crazy
Right?
to hear, dude. You're like, damn, here we go again.
And so then
You
what
know?
happens though is the reason you went for the antidepressants is it's so overwhelming that numbing at least feels a little less. I'd rather see you cry and feel the pain, even though I want you to feel pain as a brother.
Yeah, no, I'm grateful to feel it. I want it out of my system.
That's right.
Yeah.
But the next step for you is drawing a line in the sand of how you really want to feel. So I'll have to.
Yeah.
What he just said is really true for me. People who use antidepressants and other pharmaceuticals, it's important and it's valid and you should.
Yeah.
If it helps soften stuff so you can deal with it and let it out in small amounts for all intents, like do it. Whatever you need to feel safe enough to let those emotions out, get them out, whatever it means.
Yeah, it's no small statement, but I always recommend walk through the fire because the healing, this is an old Carl Jung thing. It's walk through the fire because down in the scars and down in the blood and all that mess is where all of the answers are for feeling better. But don't rush that. It's got to happen in a good way. But yeah, what he said, I'd rather you cry. And he's like, yeah, I want this stuff out of my system. That's how it works.
It's real.
You let the energy out.
It's real. When you don't let it out, it can literally manifest physically as diseases and other problems in your body. That's all real too. So this is a beautiful conversation.
People in an event, write down, I give them like a minute. I go, draw a line down the middle, write down on the left side all the positive emotions you feel in an average week. Not once a year, not once a month. The ones you regularly feel, whatever good feelings.
The average emotions in a positive week.
Positive. So what are some ones you feel in a week?
In a week, I feel
At least once a week.
okay. Any emotion?
Positive. Start with the positive.
Positive.
Empowering emotions.
Hopeful.
Okay.
Thankful.
Yeah.
Loving.
Yeah.
And maybe some pride.
Good. And so the pride is sneaking in. Now that's not ego pride. That's pride of like you're growing.
Well, I'm learning about pride. I mean, it's like I said, it's really hard for me to feel proud of myself.
Yes.
You know.
So stop saying that.
Okay.
Because every time you say that, you're rewiring it back into your body over and over. It's a story.
Yeah.
It's like there's an old phrase that says, tell a lie big enough, loud enough and long enough, sooner or later people believe it. You know who said that? Hitler.
Oh, I think you were going to say Fauci.
Well, same difference.
But yeah, I didn't know it was going to be.
We're aligned on that one, brother.
You're a quicker thinker than I am. But no, so yeah, we hear what we're saying.
But
yeah.
the conversation you've said with yourself, you've done. How many times do you think you've said that?
Said what?
That it's hard for me. I
say it a lot. Yeah, it's because I think it's like having a new story for myself. Part of me is still, there's a heavy bit, even to my whole new story, having a new story, even having some success in my life. It's almost like some of it feels embarrassing,
And some people feel like, the word people use is imposter syndrome. It's all bullshit. It's just fear that you're not enough. We all have that fear, brother.
Yeah.
I feel that at times. I don't feel it much now, but I'm 63 years old and I've done a shitload of things for 40 years,
You built enough pattern.
Yeah, I built up new patterns.
Yeah.
It's like a muscle. Everybody's got the muscle. If you use it, it grows. If you don't use it, you lose it, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't ever disappear, though. It just looks like it's not there. But if you demand it, you push it beyond what it's comfortable with. And that's what you're doing right now. You're pushing beyond your comfort. You were settling for comfort to try to survive. Now you're like, F that. I want more out of this life. I'm not going to settle for that shit. But then you keep telling yourself the old story. So change your story, change your life.
It sounds so simple, right? Change your story, change your life. And, there's a trillion memes out there that talk about this. And until you actually stop long enough to really integrate it, look at it, understand it, and start asking, how do I do that? Change your story, change your life. Okay, well, how? How do I do that? Interrupt your pattern, stop what you're doing, look at what's important and make a new plan.
Yeah, get some simple wins and feel better.
And that's how. That's the how. So I love listening to these people talk about this stuff and encouraging and inspiring, growing this audience, growing our global community, and helping people figure this stuff out.
Yeah, let's give them some more time.
Sounds overly simplistic, but it is true.
No, I love it. I appreciate you saying it. Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of this chat has been about that. And then,
but look at the positive emotions you wrote down. So, or you just told me verbally, right? So you're hopeful. Are you playful or funny, or what would be your term around that part of you? Because I didn't hear that part of you. I know it's there.
No, I feel like that part of me became such my work that I haven't had as much free time to be that as I would like.
On your own, okay, cool. Well, so those are the positives. What are the negatives you feel in an average week? At least once a week, not once a month, once a year. What are the negative emotions you feel?
Ugly.
Okay.
I feel incapable, angry, and I feel disappointing.
Okay. So which of those emotions is most powerful for you? The positive list or the negative list?
The negative list is more powerful.
And that's true for most people. Watch this. What's an emotion that if it became the dominant emotion in your life, one or two, that would get rid of those negatives like they wouldn't have any power over you? What would be an emotional state? Would it be like courage, or would it be playfulness, or would it be, let's say, joy, or would it be, you've already got gratitude, more gratitude? What would be an emotion that's so strong that it would get rid of the disappointment?
Probably love, There
you go, and that's your core, brother. I didn't hear you say that on the first one. That's all you really want. It's probably why you do this podcast. It's probably why you make people laugh. Me too, by the way. The only reason I do what I do is I love people and I love to see people happy because I was so unhappy myself and I got out of it. So I was so grateful. It's like, I feed, 100 million people a year, 100 million meals.
Yeah, that's why your charity, yeah.
I've done 1 billion meals in the last 8 years, right?
Right, dude. That's what McDonald's did, isn't it? And it was free. They're pretty cheap at McDonald's, but dang, dude.
But I did it not because I'm a good person. I did it because I grew up and I had no money and no food. And when I was 11, somebody came and fed us on Thanksgiving. And I was like, that made me believe strangers care. If strangers care about me, and I care about strangers. And so I fell in love with people and I want to make people feel happy. And I know what it feels like not to have food. I know what it feels like to be absolutely depressed and miserable and saying, do I even need to stick around in this life, right? So I don't want anybody else to feel that. So it drove me to find answers, not just for me. Once I found it for me, I wanted to help as many people as I can. But why do I want to do it? Because
I'm just going to comment here on how many people like Tony Robbins are doing this work behind the scenes, helping so many people because they've been there, because they know what it feels like. It's so inspiring when you see people come out of like really difficult circumstances and thrive, and their biggest takeaway is, how can I help more people feel this? And I love it. So, hearing him talking about that is it's inspiring. And that's the drive that we have, is like, we found a relationship in our midlife that we didn't think was possible. And not only with ourselves, but with each other, with our families. And this is what we want to share. So we're here to help people figure that out
More Tony.
as well.
I love love because when you help people that much, I mean, I have so much love in my life, it's ridiculous. I get stopped on the street every day and people don't come up and say, oh, I like your show or something. Come up and go, you changed my life. Oh my God, I love you, Tony Robbins. And I always say, no, I didn't do it. You did it, but I'm glad I helped. But I love the love that comes from it.
Yeah.
So we all really want love, but we're afraid we're not enough. And you, my friend, you are growing like a weed right now because you're doing things most people never get out of. And I'm not blowing smoke your way. I'm not a bullshitter.
No, I don't feel that, man.
you
I
know?
appreciate you saying it. Yeah,
It's the truth.
It's been.
But you got to notice your progress, and you got to stack the good, and then you got to stop the old story. And the minute you start to say that phrase, bullshit, that's an old story. It's not true anymore.
Yeah, I think a part of me is afraid that I'm going to leave a part of me, like if I be successful.
So let's investigate that for a second.
Like if I be successful, I'm going to leave a part of me behind.
Well, then you're effed right now because you're already successful. You got, I don't know how many millions of people I'm sure that watch your podcast. You make people laugh all over the world.
Yeah.
You have people that
I think I'm
adore you.
embarrassed sometimes.
But all those emotions are old habits. They're just habits. So I understand that. And by the way, when you feel embarrassed or you feel these negative emotions,
Yeah.
it also makes you feel for yourself for a little bit. So that's the other part you might be afraid of. Like some people
Like,
take
what do
care
you
of
mean by
everybody.
that?
Well, like for some, I don't know if this is you, but some people are so busy trying to make everybody else happy all the time, they don't take care of themselves unless it's a big ass problem. And then for the first time, even if it's a negative feeling, at least I'm feeling for myself, I'm feeling for me, and that might be what you're afraid of losing. But let's try it for a second here. What if I told you you could go back and feel like shit as much as you want, and it'll never stop,
All right.
but you don't have to have it be the predominant emotion of your life? That this need to beat yourself up or be ashamed or not be too happy, that it's an old story that got wired a long time ago and has nothing to do with who you really are. But when you keep telling yourself, it's like my friend, I need to take care of, I'm gonna lose a part of myself. No, you'll never lose that part. There's a part of me that would be a victim very easily. I was beat as a child. My mom was a beautiful woman. I'm not denigrating her.
God,
But when she
people-
put alcohol together with prescription drugs, she was crazy. And I was 5'1" in high school, believe it or not. I'm 6'7" now. I tell
don't
people the
believe
difference
that.
I tell people the difference is personal growth, right? but I had a tumor in my brain that made me grow. But I was
Yeah,
this
I heard
little
about
guy, and
that.
she would slam my head against it. She'd put liquid soap down my throat because she said I was lying, and I wasn't lying. And when the person you love most is trying to hurt you, you can do a number on your head. But I look back now, and fortunately, I didn't let that stop me.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't settle for that. I struggled for a long time. I look back on it and I can honestly tell you, if she was the mother I'd hoped she'd been, like if I was well fed, you really think I'd be trying to feed a billion? I've done 1 billion people, now I'm trying to feed 100 billion people. You think I would be spending my time doing that if I was a well-fed kid? I don't think so.
No.
If she had been the mother I want, I wouldn't have become the man I'm proud to be.
Yeah.
So those emotions are not you. They were a part of your past. They were a pattern. It's a pattern of what you do with your body and breathe. But it meets some of your needs to feel yourself or feel sorry for yourself or feel sad.
Right.
You follow me?
It's like a self-pity thing.
A little bit. But what you're really wanting is not self-pity. You're wanting self-love. You just haven't learned how to give it to yourself. My way of doing that is gratitude. Because when you're grateful, love flows naturally.
Is it a common pattern that sometimes, because I noticed over like about 2 years ago, I noticed that one of my biggest addictions sometimes was self-pity. I didn't even realize it.
Yeah.
I thought I was helping myself by like focusing on myself, but really I was feeling too pitiful.
Yeah.
I realized my alcohol was self-pity. Anytime I didn't.
Also, alcohol is a depressant. So what's going to do is it feels good in the moment, but then it lowers your energy and your blood sugar, everything, right?
Same for self-pity?
Self-pity, same thing. Now your energy, think about it. Self-pity, if you're in self-pity right now, 0 to 10, 10 is total high energy, 0 is no energy. Where are you in self-pity? Where would you put it?
Oh, 2?
Yeah. Where are you when you're feeling excited?
Where's my energy?
0 to 10, yeah.
My energy when I'm feeling excited is like a 9.
Yeah. Which one do you want to be?
I'd rather be the 9.
Yeah, well, why the fuck why don't you just do that?
I know.
You know?
It seems so obvious. Well, why wouldn't you just be a 9?
Yeah.
We can be pretty attached to everything that makes us a 2 and a 1. So
So this is my agreement with myself. It has been for a couple of years now, like about 7 years. Wherever I'm at is okay, and whatever comes up in trying to contradict that is an old story or a pain or something, and that I am going to continue to grow my toolbox so that I can pull it up and talk to it and deal with it and integrate it. Because a lot of times these things aren't in here trying to hurt us. That's just the result. They're doing a job to try to help us.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about all the inner shit, all the things that, the classic things like I don't want to be alone because then I'll be alone with my thoughts. And then I might start to realize how I really feel and all that. Walk through the fire. Go look for those truths deep down in the pain. Because once you do that, they're gone.
Yeah, and to get to that, when that's challenging, start with a small, simple thing each
Yes.
day. Get up and write a gratitude list. And physically, I'm seriously saying physically write with paper and a pen, get a journal or whatever. It's a practice that so few people actually will willingly do. And it's so effective that it's ridiculous. So take that one thing away, do one thing for yourself, and start doing it every single day.
Yeah, we'd like to invite you to check out the link below. It's where we have put access to what we've created to try to help you have what we have. And of course, we would love for you to like and subscribe. And if there's anything cool that you have done in your life that fits in the context of this video, we'd love to hear it. Please make sure you put the comments down and share it with us.
We've all been through this. And like I said, anytime you hear someone very influential talking about what they've been through, it helps us all relate. We're all going through this together. We're all in different phases of it. So keep watching inspirational and people that excite you, and keep watching that stuff. Feed your brain those good things, and watch people like Theo, who's going through this and feeling it and sharing it. Like that's what we're here to do. Help
Thanks
each
for
other.
sharing all this time with us too. We hope you've enjoyed the video.
Yep.
Take care.
Thanks.